Okay, so again, the abbreviation for it is what you see right here on the top of your paper, AA, similarity. Okay, the AA with the little similar symbol. And what that says is it says that angle, similarity says if two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then my triangles are similar. So if two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then the triangles are similar. So you can prove that angles are congruent. Basically, if they're given to you, you can figure out what your angles are to see if you have two of them that are the same. You can also have congruent markings to prove that your triangles are, that your angles are congruent. All right, so look at number one. We are trying to decide if these are similar by angle. If yes, we're going to write our similarity statement. So look at question number one. The two angles that I have given to me in the right triangle, or this triangle on the left, one is 75 degrees, one is 31 degrees, and they also have congruent markings there. Do I have the same angles in the second triangle? Yeah. Yes. So are these similar by angle? Yes. So we're going to write yes, and then we're going to write a similarity statement. Remember, with your similarity statement, all of your congruent angles have to be listed in the same position. So looking at the left side, what do you want to call that triangle? Triangle, what'd you say? BAC? Okay. So what we have to do is just be very careful how we list the second triangle. If I listed angle B first, I have to think about what angle is in the same position as B, but in the other triangle. What angle is in the same place as B, but in the other triangle? E, right? That's the only angle that's not given to us, so they have to match. And then if I did A next, what should come next? D, because A and D are the same. And then I did C, so what comes after that? F. Does that make a little sense? All right, try number two. Look at your picture, look at your markings, decide if you have two pairs of congruent angles in number two. If yes, you write yes and write your similarity statement. What triangle? Name the left triangle and then name the right triangle in the same manner. If you don't have two angles that are congruent, all you simply do is say no and you move on. What do you think? Do we have two pairs of angles marked congruent in number two? Yes. All right. So let's start by naming the left triangle. How do you want to call that left triangle? The left one. You did the right one first. ECD. Okay. Now, you may not have listed yours the same. All that matters is that you put the angles in the same position. We'll talk about that once we name the second one. So if I said ECD, how would the other one be called? EGF. EGF, okay. So however you named it, as long as your E's are in the same spot, as long as C and G are in the same spot, and then as long as D and F are in the same spot, it's okay. You can rearrange the letters in any order as long as you have water all over the floor. Can you see? As long as E's are in the same places, C and G is in the same place, and D and F are in the same place. Yeah, it doesn't, I just always do the left because that's how we read, is left to right, so that's habit for me, but yeah, you can change the order of those too. Is everybody okay with that one? All right, now we're going to look at 3 because 3 can be a little bit tricky. How many triangles are actually in this picture?
1, 3, 2.
Well, technically, no, 2. Do you see the big triangle? It's MLN, yes? There is also a little triangle that is basically sitting on top of that, and that little triangle is right here. Does everybody see that triangle? Okay. Looking at the markings that I have in my picture, do I have 2 pairs of congruent angles?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so these are going to be similar.
And the Greek marriage question.
Mm-hmm.
If we go back to number 2 real quick, when you do D, E, F, is it like when it's like this, you go all the way through it, you stop right there in the middle point.
In the middle point, because you're naming triangles. So if you go far, you're not really having a triangle anymore. All right, so let's name the small triangle first. How would I call that small triangle? The one I have highlighted. QPL? Okay. All right. And then what we have to do is we have to pay close attention to which angles are marked the same. What angle has the same marking as angle Q? M, so M's going to go first. What angle has the same marking as angle P? N, so N goes second. And then what angle is the same? Like the exact same angle on top of itself. What's the other letter? L, right? Yeah. So what I need you to imagine is this. You have your big triangle.
Oh, we just disregard that middle piece.
Yeah. And then the little triangle is sitting here, so just imagine pulling it to the side. That's exactly the same angle, it's just sitting on top of itself, okay? And so that's how we get the Q and the P right here, is just imagine pulling that little triangle out to the side. Does that make a little bit of sense? All right, let's take a look at 4. Now I have angle S, I don't know. Angle Y, how many degrees is angle Y? 90. And then angle E is 39. In the other triangle, I don't know H. W is 51, and C is also
52. I mean, 39.
90. So right now it doesn't look like I have 2 congruent angles, does it? Can we find the missing angles in each triangle?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want you to do first is find the measure of angle S. Remember, a triangle has how many degrees? 180. So what I want you to do is add 90 and 39. You have a calculator in front of you.
And then do what?
Okay, and then we're going to take that and subtract it from how many degrees does the triangle have? How many degrees does the triangle have?
180.
And we're going to subtract. What is 180 minus 29?
51.
51. So let me ask you this. Do I need to figure out what angle H is, or can I already say that these triangles are similar?
You said they were congruent already, right?
No, I didn't. I can now say that they are similar because I figured out that angle S is 51, which is the same as what angle in the other triangle? W. And then Y and C are both 90, so those are the same, right? You could go ahead and figure out H, but there's not a need because I already now see two congruent angles. So these are also similar. So let's make our similarity statement. How do you want to call the big triangle?
SYE.
Okay, SYE. And that's going to be similar to, which angle is the same as S? W, so that goes first. Which angle is the same as Y? C, and then that leaves me with H. Okay, so sometimes you have to do a little bit of work with your angles to figure out if they are the same. I want you to go ahead and try 5. Look at the angle measures you're given. If those are not the same, figure out the missing angle in one triangle. Look at your angles.
If we get the number, we just put it on E.
Yeah. What we need to figure out is the missing angle going to be the same as one of the other angles in the triangle. I notice that both triangles have an angle of 68 degrees. A and F are both 68. What I need to figure out is either B or E, and then does it match the other angle?
So if it don't match, then what?
Then we say
No.
no. If it doesn't match, we say no. It doesn't matter which triangle you figure out the missing angle for. I'm going to do the first one. I'm going to add 68 and 54. Thank you. That's going to give me, what, 122? And then I'm going to subtract that from 180, which is going to give me 58. Do I have two congruent angles in both of those triangles? No. Okay. So therefore, no, these are not similar, and that's all I need to do. Make a little bit of sense? Try 6. Same way with 6. Find the missing angle. If I'm adding together, I'm going to find angle A. What is angle C? 90. Angle B is,
44.
I'm going to add those. That gives me 134. And I subtract that from 180. That's going to give me 46. Is that the same as the other angle? No. So are these similar? No.
I thought for the other one, you gotta add them too.
You can,
That's what I was doing.
but if the angle that I found, the 46, doesn't match the other angle F, then it's not going to work out either way. Because two of the angles have to be congruent. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. Now, sometimes you're not given very much information at all, and you have to think back to what we remember. What do those little arrows on JK and PQ mean? They're parallel. And we talked a long time ago about parallel lines where we could have alternate interior angles or corresponding angles that could be congruent, yes? I don't really see any alternate interiors because we have a triangle. But what these parallel lines mean is this angle right here at P that I just marked is in the same position as what angle on the other parallel line. So those two angles are congruent. Okay, parallel lines always gives me congruent angles. Just have to figure out which ones are congruent. We can do the same thing on the opposite side of the triangle. So angle Q would be the same as what angle? K. Also, technically, what angle is exactly the same angle in both triangles? Which one is sitting on top of itself? L. Okay. So we really can prove it a couple of different ways here. So are these similar? Yes. So write your similarity statement. I'll give you a minute to do that. How do you want to call the little triangle, the one inside? PQL? Okay. And so that would be similar to which angle's the same as P? J. And then what's the same as Q? Okay. And the angle that's the same in both is L. Anybody have any questions on that one? All right, try 8. You got some parallel lines again in 8, so we can make some congruent angles. We also have a pair of the angles that are right across from each other. What are those called? Vertical. What do we know about vertical angles? So we've got some parallel lines, and we've also got some vertical angles. So mark your congruent angles. That makes it easier. So if they are similar, it makes it easier to name your triangles that are similar. Mark which angles are congruent to what. Be careful with this one. On this one, my JK and MN are parallel. Be very careful here. This one's a little bit different than 7. Which angle is going to be the same as J? N. Okay, alternate interior angles. Those two are the same. What angle is going to be the same as K? M. Okay, alternate interior. So make sure when you're making your markings. In this picture, it's alternate interior. In number 7, it was corresponding. So different types of angles, both congruent, but different angles. So then we're going to say, yes, these are similar. How do you want to call the top triangle? Okay, JKL. And then just be careful how you name the second one. What angle's in the same as J? N, M, and L. Yep. Okay, all you have to do is prove that 2 pairs of angles are congruent, and that is enough to say that our triangles are similar.